Hello, my name is Archie Wright and we are here in Ashbourne, Derbyshire, and today we're going to look at the ancient game of Mash Street football, aka Shrovetide. Let's have a little look at this game that starts at 2 PM and ends at 10 PM. We are at the Shrovetide plinth. This is where the ball is thrown up to the players at 2 PM. This is a new plinth built for the game in 2024.
Acquaintance be forgot and never walk tonight. Should old acquaintance be forgot for the sake of lang syne. For old lang syne we did, for old lang syne.
I am now sat on Clifton Goal. This is a new goal built in 1996 and many goals have been scored here. This is the site of the old Clifton Mill. And this is the old goal built in 1968 where many balls have actually been goaled from the past. And it was built by the Nestles Company, which was actually a factory in Ashbourne. In 1985 the goal was actually on this bridge where this metal thing is right here. The players actually had to be in the water to hit a wooden plank 3 times. Clifton Mill is the home of Downard Shrovetide. I'm now at the Shrovetide statue called The Hug. The statue was made by sculptor Neil Hawksworth and unveiled on the 13th of September 2008. This bench was put here to remember past players and past spectators. So Tim, can you please tell us about this stone here?
Sure, a lot of people walk through Ashbourne and don't really realise that this is actually here. But what this is the Prince's Gate stone, which is, it shows people where the Prince of Wales, the old Prince of Wales in 1928, walked through this very gate that's below it, down a pathway and onto the Shorecroft below to turn up the ball on the 21st of February 1928. And that stone was put up afterwards to mark the spot.
I'm now at the grave of Don Lowndes, who this film is dedicated to, and he actually wrote a poem about Ashbourne Royal Shrovetide. I'm now going to play the poem for you so you can understand how special it is for the people that live here in Ashbourne, Derbyshire.
There's a town called the Gateway to Dovedale, and early every year, men gather in the Green Man Bar to drink their rum and beer. They play a game of football there. They play it to the streets. The men, they are a rugged crowd and very hard to beat. Shrove Tuesday and Ash Wednesday, these dates, they're always set to play a game of football through sunshine, snow and wet. They carry a chosen one shoulder high until they reach Shorecroft. They sing the Queen and Old Lang Syne. The ball is tossed aloft. All barriers are broken then, religions, races too, to try to reach that wondrous ball, robed in red, white and blue. It's sometimes up and it's sometimes down, as they play there in the street, and neither of them will give way, or ever show defeat. The day goes on, and the night has cold, as slowly they leave the town, to fight through hedgerows, sludge and brook, till that mill wheel is found. Then out of dirty pockets, a coin is quickly tossed. The men walk away, no luck that day, for them the game is lost. The victor rejoices, his friends stand by his side, with the ball tucked underneath his arm, into Ashbourne town they stride. They gather in the Green Man bar, and tales are told that night of Ashbourne Shrovetide football. Who won? Who lost the fight? So don't decry our ancient game, and never show defeat. Let us see our children's children play Shrovetide in the street. Cheers.
It's a wonderful game.
Does it get a bit rough?
Oh yeah, it can get rough. Yeah.
How rough, Don?
Oh, it can get violent. Well, I've seen broken legs and fingers, black eyes, cut eyes and all that sort of thing. Once, at the bottom of Derby Hill, the chaps have been playing, they stood out of the game for a minute and one chap took a running kick at the other and he lifted his kneecap right off.
Yeah.
And he was going round, oh dear, you know.
Yeah.
And chap stood when he says, hey lad, he said, if they can't stand that, there's no business being here.
And how about jumping over Compton Bridge? Now that's a fair old drop.
Well, the ball was loose and it had gone under the bridge, and I knew the chap as were going with it was a fair runner. He was a good runner. So there was nothing for it to take the wall and the drop as well, so I did it. I went straight over.
And how many came after you?
None. None came after, but I dropped on him the other end. One year he went into Woolworths.
Went into Woolworths, what happened then?
Well, it wasn't in long, but the doors gave way. They was playing against the doors, and the chappie, a fellow named George Mansfield, he ran away with it into Woolworths and sat on a pyramid of paint with a ball till somebody kicked the bottom.
And the lot came down.
The lot came down.
Shrovetide balls are made, painted and played differently, and we are heading up to the Ashbourne Historical Centre now to interview a load of people about Shrovetide. Let's go. I'm now at the Ashbourne Historical Centre, but before I go in, I'm going to play an interview with Arthur Chadwick that he did in 1985.
Chadwick.
Hello, nice to be with you again.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah.
Now, I see you're busy stitching the ball. Would you like to tell us a little bit about how you started this?
Yes. Well, it all dates back to medieval times, football was. We haven't got all the names of the men who stitched the balls up, dating right back to 1873. But the only person that I can ever remember that first was stitching the Shrovetide ball was Mr. Trevor Yeomans, who kept a shoe shop and shoe repair shop in the marketplace in Ashbourne.
Yes.
Well, of course, he was making the Shrovetide balls at that time when I was going to school.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, he's a little bit older than my father, who is a cobbler and saddler.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually they decided to make the Shrovetide ball between them.
Yes.
And my father, Mr. Percy Chadwick, and Mr. Trevor Yeomans made them together for about 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
Until Mr. Yeomans passed away and or got too old as he couldn't make them.
Mm-hmm.
And of course then it left my father making them on his own. And then he was making them on his own for about 20 years, and then, of course, in that time, he showed me how to make the Shrovetide football.
Yes.
So therefore it's been carried on through those years.
Yes. Yes, because you've always been very interested in the Shrovetide football.
Oh yes, even when I went to school,
Yes.
I always followed the Shrovetide.
Yes. Yes. Oh, now let's have a look at exactly what you're doing here. Tell us about the leather that the balls are made of.
Yes. Well, these, what I'm doing now, I'm stitching two sides up, but before then, I'll explain to you what it's all about, how it's cut out. You see, this is cowhide, which is just like the same leather which, if you had your shoes soled and heeled, that would be the same.
Yes.
This is treated a little bit different, and it's planed down to that thickness of 1/8 of an inch, which makes it easy to work with, you see.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, you cut two sides out, the two round sides like that.
Yes.
And then of course you've got the long piece of leather there which goes right round the centre of the ball like that, you see.
Ah, yes.
And then of course finish there, and then of course the other side is put on this side as well, you see, like that.
So it's a very simple design.
Yes, it is. And of course before you start stitching the leather you've got to really soak it in water first.
Yes. Yeah.
Make it nice and pliable, you see, so that you can work with it.
Yes.
And when you've stitched the two seams up, same as I'm stitching this one up now, and then of course I've got to stitch the other round side on the other side when this is done. And then, of course, the hardest part about it is that you've got to turn the ball inside out.
Yes.
So that the seam is in the side of the ball and not outside, you see.
Yes.
And therefore you can just see the stitches showing on the seam that goes right round the ball.
Yes. Yes. And this is a bigger ball than was made, say, 15 years ago.
Yes.
It was decided by the committee that it should be bigger so that people couldn't put it up their clothes, I believe.
That's true.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Well, and then of course with them being big balls, they were heavier to handle. And
Yes.
if they was hugging them a long time, it made their arms ache more, so they got shut of it quickly.
Yes.
And it got kicked about a little bit more instead of being hugged.
Yes. Now tell me about this cork shavings. This is what you stuff the ball with, and it's quite a job.
Yes, it is. It is quite a job. Well, this is a ordinary polythene bag which is not full up. I've just rolled it down like that to just show you what the shavings are like, you see.
Yes.
They're just ordinary cork shavings. But if this bag was full of cork shavings right from the top, the whole lot of those shavings would go in the Shrovetide ball and probably more beside.
Good gracious.
Because you keep stuffing the ball and stuff until you can't get any more in, you see.
Yes.
They're just only like cork shavings, which are very good because they don't absorb water, you see, when the ball gets in the water. And
In November 1963, Princess Margaret visited Ashbourne Town Hall. and was presented a miniature Shrovetide ball. I'm now here with Terry Brown. He is actually the current ball maker for the game. So, hello Terry, how are you?
Hiya, you alright?
Yeah, not too bad, thank you. Can I ask you a few questions about ball making?
Yeah, ask away.
So, how long have you been making these balls for the game?
I started helping Arthur in about the year 2000. I can't remember exactly when, but I go down and help him. Then I started helping John. So probably about 25 years, really.
25, that's a long time for making a ball for a game.
I've made a few.
How much cork does it take to actually stuff the ball?
So it depends. It depends how much the leather stretches, and it's usually about a good bin bag full, or probably more sometimes.
Bloody hell, that's a lot of cork to use. So yeah. Have you ever made yourself a ball for fun or out?
No, I made one once that wasn't very good that the upper juice for running now. But no, probably every ball I've made really has been for the game. Yeah.
So you never thought, oh, I'm bored, just make a ball?
I'm never bored. No.
Busy.
Yeah, very good.
Have you ever goaled a ball before?
Yes, I goaled in 1997. The ball that was thrown up by Bill Kent.
Yeah. I'm gonna ask a question about like celebrating. Like, did you celebrate when you goaled one?
Oh yes, yeah, celebrated. I'm still celebrating if I'm honest. Yeah.
But you cried when you goaled one.
I wasn't far off.
How tempting is it to keep one of the balls that you make?
No, not tempting at all. I do it because I like making them for the game, and I get a lot of pleasure out of seeing them thrown up, and probably even more pleasure when I see them scored and hanging in people's living rooms as a treasured possession.
How long does it actually take you to, make the ball?
I used to be able to do them in about 12 hours, do one in 12 hours, but now with the new leather that we use, it probably takes getting up for 20 hours. So,
Yeah, I'm shocked.
Yeah.
If you had the opportunity, would you ever turn the ball up?
I suppose yes. I suppose that's everybody who plays Shrovetide or loves Shrovetide, that's their dream, isn't it, to be asked to turn one on. Yeah, that's so yes. If they ask me, definitely, I'll definitely say yes. Yeah.
So if you turned up the ball, who would you want to paint it?
Oh, that's not down to me, is it? I suppose Tim paints the downers balls and Simon paints the uppers balls, but it wouldn't bother me at all as long as somebody made a nice job.
Has there ever been a ball that you're not happy with?
A ball that I'm not happy with. I wouldn't say not happy with, but there's been a few there. They've not been perfect, but then I suppose that's part of a Shrovetide ball. A Shrovetide ball isn't supposed to be perfect, is it? It's a one-off. If they were all the same and all like footballs, I think people wouldn't be happy. They're all original.
So prior to my next question, I'm actually holding a ball that Arthur Chadwick made, and I was just wondering, have you ever made a miniature ball that's the same size as this?
I've never made anything that small, no. I've made a few smaller ones for people that have thrown them up years ago, but we don't do that anymore. So, no, I don't think I'll be able to do that. It's very, I bet there's a lot of hard work goes into that.
Yeah. I was just wondering, could you take us step by step how you make the ball?
Well, first I buy the leather, then I cut it. It comes in its side of a cow, so it's the shoulder leather. Comes in a large piece, so I cut two discs out, and then one long piece to go around the edge. So it's 3 pieces of leather. Then you stitch it inside out. So I stitch it from the inside, stitch one round piece to the long piece. Then still inside out, I stitch round to about 2/3 the way round the last piece, then I have to turn it back inside out. So then that's the hard bit. Then you have to stitch it outside, stitch it inside, but from the outside. So that is really difficult. And sometimes you can tell which bit that was, but you can't on this one. Then you stuff it with cork and sew it up. Yeah, it's that easy.
So do you get paid for making the ball, or?
No, I do it for nothing. The committee supply the leather and the cork, and I just stitch it, and I do it for nothing, just as a way of giving something back to the game. So I don't get paid now.
So this isn't about ball making. This is about like the future of the game. So what do you think the future of the game will be?
Well, I've seen the changes over the last 40 years, and the game's changing all the time. So I just hope that it keeps going, and that our children can play Shrovetide and get as much enjoyment out of it as we do.
Thank you, Terry.
All right, thank you, Archie. Cheers.
I'm here with Sandra Church, who painted the ball in the 70s and 80s, and I'm going to ask her a few questions. So how are you?
Fine, thank you. Yeah, happy to help.
Thank you. Can I ask you the first question?
Yeah.
So, when you was at school, was you any good at art?
Yes, I got an art prize, a cookery book, which I haven't used, to be fair. But yes, I was good at art, loved it.
Did you study art at college?
No, I didn't. I did get a place at Derby, but I decided to take a different route, a different career. So, yeah, but I did get in there.
And what was your career when you were sort of younger?
I joined the police force and spent 26 years in the police force in London and then in Derbyshire.
Do you have any memories of your grandfather Percy Chadwick making the ball?
Yes, I do. He used to have a little shed down on what they called Shawcroft, which is now the car park, and he made the Shrovetide balls there from 1947. So as I grew up, I was aware that he was doing that and passing the skills of his to his son, my dad, and then that continued onwards after that.
Your father Arthur made them and painted them. Did he teach you how to paint, or?
Well, I watched him actually, because I was in between leaving the police force in London to start in Derbyshire. That was around 1973. And so I sort of got really interested watching him do it. And so then I started painting really around that time.
So when you painted your first ball, was you nervous?
No, not really. I mean, I've been so used to seeing Dad do it, and then I started, as I say, trying my hand at it. And I believe I repainted a ball before I ever actually did one for the actual game. So, and that was in about 73, 74, something like that.
So how did you paint the Shrovetide ball?
Right, I first of all, I got the information of who was going to throw it up, but that came quite late, quite near the throwing up time when the Shrovetide was going to be on that particular year. So what I used to do was prepare the ball by painting it white, and then I would do the things that I could do, like putting Ashburn Royal Shrovetide on and the crown, and started then thinking about how I was going to do the side panels and what would bring the whole thing together. And in that time I discovered that if I painted the seams, that would bring it all together and it would look like one as opposed to different panels.
Can I ask how you did the crown?
I did the crown, yeah, quite easily really. I copied a picture and yeah, quite easy really, yeah.
Did you have a favourite ball that you painted?
I certainly did. I don't know if you can guess, but it was actually my dad's ball. He threw it up, and that was a big honour for me doing that, because he was a very special man. He did a lot for the community, So it was quite easy for me to decide what I was going to do on it. And on the panels, I actually did the lines of 5 lines of music. And his favourite hymn was "I Vow to Thee, My Country," and I did that in notes all the way round on the panels. And the other thing, obviously, we had the crest and all the things on the side panels. Yeah, it was quite, yeah, it was an honour and a privilege because, as I say, he did a lot for the community. He was in the choir, St Oswald's choir, and he was a bandmaster of Ashbourne as well. So, yeah, I'm very proud of what my dad achieved.
Can I ask what else you put on your dad's ball?
Yes, Dad was a Derby County fan, so I put the Derby Ram on it, and also he was awarded the British Empire Medal for services to the community, so I put that on as well.
So what type of paint did you use on the ball?
Well, I followed my dad what he was using, and it was acrylic.
So can you take us step by step on how you would paint the ball?
Yeah, it's quite difficult. What I did with the ball, I'd put it in a mixing bowl with a towel in it to just make it secure and tight. And then I would measure everything out by quarters, like that. So I knew what space I'd got to do and what level it was going to be at. And then I worked it out, probably with pencil. I can't just remember exactly, but I had to measure it out to see how these letters would all fit into that space. So it would look equidistant. And then panels were quite easy because I just did either side of that. The same with the side panels. You've got to do it so it all measures right to look. So when it hangs, you can see that, and then the underneath the flag.
So I understand that you painted Roy McFarlane's ball when he turned the ball up. So I was wondering, what was it like meeting him, and was he like really nice?
Yes, he was really nice, and my dad was thrilled as well to meet him because, as I say, he was a big fan of Derby County. So yeah, I mean, obviously he was there at the lunch and I met him and talked to him. It was really nice. Yeah, lovely.
What did you paint on his ball?
I painted the Derby Ram, the England cap, and the baseball ground.
Have you got any favourite people that turn the ball up?
Yes, Mr. Robertson, who came from the Orkneys, he was in touch a lot with us in Ashbourne over the Shrovetide football because we'd obviously got, the towns have got similar interests, similar game, but they just played it with a smaller ball. And eventually he did come down here and he had the honour of throwing the ball up. So yes, I did enjoy painting that one. Yeah.
How come you stopped painting the Shrovetide ball?
Well, I started it, but that year, that was 88, continuing to 89, and I'd started the ball, but then I found I was pregnant with twins that were due in the February. So I phoned an artist in Ashbourne, Stuart Avery, and asked him if he would finish the ball for me.
Yeah.
And that's what happened.
Do you miss painting the ball at all?
I'm afraid not, no. I've sort of had a busy life since then. I've got my twin daughters, one's married with 2 grandchildren. So yeah, and I'm obviously getting older, so no, I'm quite happy just going down, watching it and, you know, catching up on people that I haven't seen for a while. Yeah.
Would you ever repaint a ball now?
No, I don't think so. No.
So I've got one more question for you. What do you think the future of Shrovetide is actually going to be?
Well, in my opinion, it probably has got a little bit too big. I do appreciate that it is well known, the game is, and I know visitors want to come and see it. But years ago, when it wasn't quite so busy, the locals could enjoy it more fully, I think.
Yeah.
And there's so many tales to be told about what happened when the goaler goaled it. Like one person, he said, by the time I goaled it, I was doing it in my socks because I'd lost my shoes in the river, things like that. And yeah, I think it probably has got a bit too big. But what I'd like to see is the game continue because it means such a lot to Ashburn people. It's such a tremendous game, sport, whatever you call it. As long as the spectators appreciate the rules of the game, as you might say.
Yeah.
And yeah, I love Shrovetide myself. I mean, obviously, being a woman, I've never got involved with playing, but being involved with all that goes before, the making, the painting in my family, I just say long may it continue.
An added question that just popped in my head. If you ever got asked to turn up the ball, would you?
Definitely. Yeah, why not? Why shouldn't it be a woman? Yeah.
Thanks, Sandra.
You're welcome.
I'm now here with Tim Baker, the current ball painter, and he's been painting the ball for 36 years. Hello, Tim Baker. How are you?
Hello, Archie.
Are you okay?
I'm well, thank you. And how are you?
Yeah, I'm not too bad, thank you. Can I ask you a few questions about the ball painting and stuff?
Please do, fire away.
Right, so I wanted to know how you actually started to paint the ball.
Oh gosh, it was in 1991 when Philip Tomlinson, who was on the Shrovetide committee and also a family friend, came to deliver the milk to our house. And he knew that I was really interested in Shrovetide and was okay with the paintbrush. And he said to me, very out of the blue one day, would you like to try and paint a Shrovetide ball? And of course, I readily said yes. He said, I'll bring a ball to you. And he did. And he said, this hasn't been played with. He said, it's an unplayed ball. Just paint it how you want with images of Ashbourne and just make it look like a Shrovetide ball. And I sort of said, well, why do you want me to do this? And he said, well, ask no questions and I won't tell you any lies. And I painted this ball. Looking back now, it was awful. And I sort of gave it back to Philip and he took it away. Time went by and after a while I sort of gave up wondering what this was all about. And then out the blue, Philip came to our house in at the end of November, just before the Christmas, and said, go to Mr. Chadwick, Arthur Chadwick, who'd made the balls then. He said, and pick a Shrovetide ball up. As from this year, you are now the official painter of the Ash Wednesday ball. Well, you might understand, Archie, how that made me feel. I was elated and shocked at the same time.
Have you ever seen that ball since?
No, I haven't. I don't know what happened to it. I've never seen it since I painted it. The awful one, you mean? But yeah, that's how it happened.
Can I ask a question about your ball? I was wondering who this gentleman on the front is.
Well, this is my great uncle Joseph Burton, and this is a ball he goaled at Sturston Mill in 1902. Now, what I love about Joseph is, and what I'm very proud of, he actually goaled 7 balls altogether. The most anybody's ever goaled. And his first ball he goaled was in 1886, and he was only 11 years old when he goaled that.
What about on the side? Is that also?
Yeah, on this side here we've got a portrait of King Edward VII, whose coronation it was in 1902. So this is actually a coronation ball. On the back we've got the very traditional crown and the name of the gentleman that turned it up, who was William Storer. And William Storer played cricket for Derbyshire County, so we've got the Derbyshire County badge on the side, and underneath there we've got the Edward VII cipher.
So I'm going to ask you a question about your painting. What is your favourite thing to paint on the ball?
Undoubtedly the crown. I've always loved painting the crown on the ball, and it's a very, very common thing to put on because we are Royal Shrovetide, and so I always enjoy painting them, and I always put them on wherever I can.
Do you have a favourite ball that you've painted?
That's a really tough one because I've done a lot over the years. People might think that the ball I painted for the Prince of Wales in 2003 would be my favourite, but it isn't. I've had a lot. I think the one I've done for Mick Wright recently, that I've painted for him in the last year or two, that's up there as one of my favourites, as is the one I did for John Tomlinson in 2024. And then, of course, the one I did this year for Brian Pegg was very different. In 2025, I painted a green ball, which was a daring step to do something different, and it came out okay.
How long does it take you to paint the Shrovetide ball?
That's a good question, and it depends really on the artwork. On average, they take between 50 and 75 hours of my spare time. If you consider the ball I paint for the game every year, I get to know on Christmas Eve or roughly around then who's throwing the ball up. Then it's a case of contacting them, asking what they want on it. Some people have a great idea of what they want. Other people don't have any idea. You have to guide them. And then I have to, start from scratch. And that doesn't include the prepping of the ball, getting it all white, getting the grease in the leather and so on. So between 50 and 72, 75 hours or whatever on the artwork, depending on how detailed the pictures are that they want.
So can you show us how you do the lettering on the ball?
Yeah, sure. Okay, I've just written some lettering here, and this is all visible to you, on a ball to be painted. This was gold in 1909 by Charlie Eccles. I don't know if you can just see all that. And it's written in a chalk pencil, because it's the only thing that sort of shows up on red. So as you can see there, the lettering is all in place. And in a moment now, I'll just show you how we start painting it in. As you can see now, I've started putting in a dark yellow paint on this lettering here. This will be improved on after by adding a lighter shade to appear to make the gold sort of stand out and become a little bit more 3D. So we're just kind of like just working the paint into the letters. It's really difficult because it's light, and trying to do it one-handed at the moment, which is making it really hard. But you can see, the sort of thing we're doing here. We're sort of like filling the letters in this New Times Roman font, which has sort of become more sort of popular on the Shrovetide balls in the last 30 odd years. It used to be Old English all the time before, but now we tend to do this font. I'm kind of just filling in the lettering. As you can see, it's kind of like you have to have patience and a very steady hand that I've developed over the past 30 odd years of doing this. But you sort of can see the sort of thing that we're doing here. We're just filling out the lettering on the ball and just slowly working our way around. And then what I'll do next, I'll show you how we put on the how we put in the lighter yellow on that to make the lettering shine out. Okay, there is the finished lettering in its base coat of ochre. There we can see Charles Eccles, who gold this ball in 1909. And then the next job, when this yellow has dried, is to paint in the lighter highlights on the lettering to make them appear to shine. The next stage is to put some lighter yellow on the lettering to make the letters appear to like shine. It's really difficult, and you have to have a really steady hand for this. But it just brings depth to the lettering and makes it just kind of stand out a little bit more. As you can see what's happening here, it's just making everything pop out of the ball, which is good when it's hanging up in like a dark room or something like that. You just work some lighter yellow on each side of the letter like that. It's really difficult because I'm trying to do it one-handed. But you get the drift. You can see what's happening. It's picking out the letters and making them stand out. I'll show you when all that's finished. Hey guys, that's all finished. I hope that shows up on camera. I think you can just see that it brings a bit of depth to the lettering and just brings it out a little bit for sort of display purposes. So there we go. That's a ball nearly finished. I hope that's shown some way on how the ball is painted.
So when you do these balls, do you do them free of charge, or do you have to charge them?
All the balls I've ever painted for the games, so the ones that are thrown up, are my gift to Shrovetide. So I put my expertise in for free. I do make a charge for played balls and repaints because obviously paint and brushes are quite expensive, and I have to use top quality paint and good quality brushes, which aren't cheap. So I do make a charge for repainting balls. It's not vast amounts, but all the balls I have painted for the game from day one, I have never charged the committee a penny because it's my gift to the game of Shrovetide.
What sort of paint do you use?
I use enamel paints, the sort of little paints that you would use in the tins to paint kits or model kits. They're the sort of paints. They're the toughest paints. We've tried all sorts of different ones, and they're the toughest. It has to be tough. And I've often said that to paint a Shrovetide ball is like throwing a China tea set to a rugby club and expecting it to come back intact. It's not going to happen. So we try and keep the paint on as long as possible for the spectators. And I certainly like to see the balls, remain painted as long as possible in play. It just makes it a little bit more interesting, and you can see it a little bit clearer.
What is the worst thing about, like, when you can see the paint's coming off? Like, what is the worst thing about, like, is there anything that makes it just worse when you can clearly see your paint's coming off? Like, is there anything that makes it really bad?
I think it coming off early. And that depends on how the ball is and the softness of the ball, or how much water, or basically if it's been kicked on the ground a lot. If I see the paint coming off in big pieces within the first hour of the game, that's really disappointing, because I've put maybe 70 hours of my spare time into creating this icon. And I do occasionally have little old ladies come up to me and pull on my coat and say, "Oh, your paint's coming off really quick this year," and I don't always really want to be told that because I know how bad it is.
So coming off ball painting a little bit, do you have a sort of favourite Shrovetide that you've been to?
Yeah, sure. One sticks out a mile, and it was 1985. I just had my 12th birthday, and I was up at Queen Elizabeth's, and my friend and I, Simon, had gone to watch the game, the ball thrown up. But of course, when you're that age, your parents expect you to come home about 5 o'clock. The ball had actually gone missing, and so we decided to go and get some chips and walk home. And we were walking down Church Street, and whatever made us do this, I don't know, because it wasn't a direct route home to where we lived. We decided to cut through the churchyard, and there's a little alley at the back of the church which leads down to the bridge on School Lane. And we were walking down there, and to our horror and shock and surprise, there, stuffed in the hedge, was the Shrovetide ball.
Fully painted?
Fully painted, yeah. There's no paint come off it. It was just literally rammed into the hedge. No one around, there was no one there but us. And obviously some players had stashed it there to try and retrieve it, or gone to get some support to retrieve it. And I often think, what would we have done if we'd have been really dishonest and taken that ball home and told nobody? I'm glad we didn't do that, but you often wonder if, I would probably have that in the shed or something where nobody could see it. But we just ran. We were so afraid. We just thought we were going to get mugged by a load of players and a hug would start, and we just ran a goodly way home. But I often wish now I hadn't run, and if we'd have been brave, and maybe we could have taken the ball down to Clifton and goal it, who knows.
Did you find out about that ball, if it got gold, or if it didn't get gold? Did you ever find out what happened?
Yeah, I did, and it was an interesting year that year. There were some Scottish people came down from a game in the border regions that play a similar game, and they'd got the ball, and they didn't know what to do with it. So the ball went missing and didn't reappear, and the police found these 4 or 5 Scottish lads behind the hospital. Didn't know where they got to go, didn't know what they got to do with the ball, didn't know about a goal. So the ball was taken off them and brought back and given back to the gentleman that threw it up.
So when you was at school, was you any good at art?
Yeah, that sounds very, I can blow my own trumpet. I was okay at it, yeah. I mean, my art started way before I ever went to school, believe it or not. When I was a child, a small child, I was very happy with a pad and some pencils or a pen, just drawing. I was a big Doctor Who fan growing up, so I used to try and draw what I'd seen on the telly on the Saturday night, because there was no such things as videos or DVDs in those days. You had to just watch it on the telly, and when it was over, it was over. So I spent many years as a child drawing Star Wars and Doctor Who, and then of course getting interested in Shrovetide when I was about 8 years old, drawing Shrovetide scenes and hug scenes and copying pictures out the paper and learning to do the lettering on the ball. So I got quite a good idea of how to do those things before I ever put paintbrush to ball in 1991. I used to often buy plastic footballs and paint them white and make them look like Shrovetide balls. And so I had a really deep connection with the game. I've never played it, obviously, but I've always had a deep love for it, and it comes out in my family as well.
So from my research, from working here, I understand that they didn't always, paint the ball. So when did Ashbourne start painting, if you know?
We know exactly what year it was. It was 1878, and the balls had always been brown up until then. And I don't even think they were always given to the goalers pre-1883. I think they just used the same ball every year. And then in 1888, we don't know how or why they decided to suddenly start painting them. And the first painter was a 14-year-old boy at the time called Jack Barker. He was an apprentice working at E.M. Sellers, a painting and decorating company in Ashbourne. So they just gave E.M. Sellers the job to paint the ball, and they gave it to John Barker, which he did for many years, along with another gentleman called Charles Brown. And they did them in tandem. So John would paint the Tuesday ball and Charles would paint the Wednesday ball. But it started we definitely know, in 1878, yeah.
So what do you reckon that the future of Shrovetide is going to be?
It's a tough question, but a good one. I think the future of Shrovetide is semi-secure. It only takes one thing, unfortunately, in this sort of day and age to happen to end the game. But we have a wonderful committee and a players' committee, two committees that look after the welfare of the game, and they work really hard to keep that welfare going. I will add, though, I am a little bit perturbed about the one-sidedness of it. And I know there's a lot of people who would argue and say that it isn't one-sided, but I think it has been slightly over the past 30 years. And people have to remember that this is a game. It's not a sport. It's not a professional football outfit. It's just a game. And the only sort of decision that needs to be made is who has the ball at the end of the day to goal it. And I just hope that we can sort of level out the sides so it becomes less competitive and more open. Like when I was a kid, the ball was thrown about, kicked about, up and down the river, over the Shawcroft, through the streets. We don't get a lot of that anymore. It's very tight hugs, a lot of strangers, which we can't really control, and it's become too competitive, which for me has slightly ruined the game over the last 15 years.
Thank you, Tim.
Thank you, Archie.
I'm now interviewing Phil Philo, who is new to the town. Hello, Phil. How long have you actually lived here?
Hello, Archie. I'm originally from the Midlands. I was born in Leicestershire, but I've been away for the last 40 odd years. I've lived in Ashbourne for about 4.5 years now.
As a newcomer to the town, what do you think of Shrovetide?
Well, I'm ashamed to say that although I'm a Midlander originally, I was totally unaware of Ashbourne Shrovetide until we moved here 4.5 years ago. And since we've been here, we've followed it each year it's been on. Obviously, the first year we were here, it was COVID, so there was no game. And we thoroughly enjoy it. We think it's a very exciting attraction in the town. We love following it, and I love to follow the story and the history of the game, also in my role here as a volunteer in the Historical Centre.
Was it a shock or a surprise to you on the way it was played?
It wasn't really a shock because I'm an ex-rugby player. It was a surprise, the whole scale of it. I mean, it's on a massive, massive scale. It's far beyond the scale of a rugby game. So yes, I was extremely surprised in just just what an impact it has, not just on the immediate town, but on the surrounding area as well, because obviously it's played over that 3-mile length between the goals. And I was astonished just how impactful it is on the streets of the town and the people and the residents.
Was you surprised that a small town like this had such a huge game?
As I say, I'm very surprised at the scale of the game. I'm not so surprised that it is so huge because I know the history of the game now, the pedigree, and how such an important impact it's had on the town over the years, the decades it's been played here.
So now you know some of the history of Shrovetide, what do you find the most satisfying part?
Oh, grief, that's a difficult question because there are so many aspects to the game, so many elements. I find the stories behind the people and the experiences they've had playing and watching the game fascinating. I find the story of the balls, the surviving balls, and how they've been painted, the designs behind the painted balls. It's such a diverse subject area, and it's so integral to the town. It's there in the very blood of the town.
Yeah. What do you think the game means to the town of Ashbourne?
Well, as an outsider, I see it very much that Shrovetide to Ashbourne is a bit like the plague is to Eyam, or the Bakewell tarts are to Bakewell. It's a really fundamental and important part of the town's history and deserves to be carried on.
If you were younger, would you have played the game?
Had I been a resident here and had been born in the town, I probably would have done in my youth, yes, yeah, because I do enjoy physical contact games. I probably would have been, involved in some way. I think it's something to be very proud of, to be involved in. To be involved now, well, I think the limits of my involvement are probably confined to working here with Tim in the Historical Centre, and I wouldn't even aspire to doing something directly involved with the modern game. I'm not a local, and I think the honours of turning up and doing stuff like that, being directly involved in the game, should be the privilege of somebody who was born here and who lives here, and has a track record with the game.
Yeah, and I've got one more question. What do you think the future of Shrovetide is going to be?
Oh, I don't know what it will be, but I hope with all my heart that it has a long life here in Ashbourne. It's had a long life already.
Yeah.
I think it's something that Ashbourne can be justly proud of, and I think it deserves to go on for a long, long time yet.
Yeah. Cheers.
You're very welcome.
Now with Tony Chapman, who lives in Ashbourne, what do you think of Shrovetide?
Well, I've never been a tremendous fan of the game. I do remember my son used to get in the river and thoroughly enjoy it. But I've gradually developed a sort of affection for it because I work with Tim in the Heritage Centre and learnt more about it. I think learning more about it, you come to like the game a hell of a lot more.
But are there aspects that you're not so keen on?
I think the main aspect I'm not so keen on is how can you put it out? The enormous crowds that are dragged into the town of people who don't really have an interest in the game. They've just come here for reasons of social media. They think they can come here and have a party, and it can distract from the joy of the locals enjoying their game. And I think you've got to be a bit careful of that. That's my main bitch about it, if you like.
What do you think brings these people in?
Simple. Social media. You put things like this on social media and they go all over the place, and you get people from far-flung parts of the world with their television cameras taking it back to their country. It's of no interest to those people. It's very much a local game that is enjoyed by local people for all the right reasons, and I really wish that it carries on like that.
Lastly, what do you think the future of Shrovetide is?
I think it's got a tremendously good future. I think it's got a good future because you've got a base of people who really care about it, people who try to promote it. You've got a wonderful fellow like Tim Baker who paints the balls now, and people like yourself, Archie, will be playing this game when you're running about with your walking stick in your 80s. I think it's got that sort of future, but just needs the certain controls, as I've said.
Thank you, Derek.
You're more than welcome, Archie. Thank you.
Another supporter of Shrovetide is Sam Howson. Can you tell us why you like Shrovetide?
I don't really know, Archie. I don't know what it is about it. I think the night before Shrovetide is like Christmas Eve to me. The excitement, the build-up, it just becomes really excited. You see friends that you haven't seen for years, sort of wandering about and talking. The ball will break. It doesn't matter what the weather's like. I don't know what it's just. I think it's in me. It's just in me, I'm afraid. And why I love it so much, I really don't know, but I do.
Do you have any really outstanding memories about the game?
I think the best memories I've got is when I was a young girl in the 80s. Used to follow Shrovetide avidly then. Watching them go down towards Clifton, Harry Aircut breaking the ice with his elbows as he went along. I have got, memories of Paddy Kerr running in, Brew. I think my best memories obviously are down Clifton, but I also have seen a lot of goals up at Sturston as well. The hug coming in and knocking us all into the river, because we stood too close to the river and it comes in at speed at Sturston, which it always has done for a long time. But yeah, I think the 80s memories are some of my exciting memories. There wasn't as many people about. So if you were on the side of the Henmore, you were really up against the hug. You can smell it, you could touch it. Nowadays it's probably, there's a lot more people playing it, but you could see a great deal in those days.
I understand your granddad was a big supporter. Can you tell us who he was?
Yeah, my granddad was Tom Webster. Now, he was a supporter. He was never a player. I think he supported the local hostilleries more than he supported Shrovetide, but he was one of the founding 12 that began the Shrovetide meal at the Green Man in Ashbourne. So he supported Ashbourne through his use of all the public houses and the hostilleries more than being out in the hug, etc. But I got to enjoy Shrovetide lunch from, I think I was probably 10 or 11 the first time I went, and I still go to this day. So yeah, it's lovely memories of being at the Shrovetide lunch with my granddad. He was the one that took me.
So what do you think the future of Shrovetide is?
It's a difficult question, I'm afraid. I think with the extension and the expansion of Ashbourne, we get more and more people coming in that don't like it. We've even got locals that don't like it as well. But I think we have to make sure that we honour the game, we keep the royal connections, we maybe have to adapt and change the game slightly if the town adapts and changes. But I do hope that with the help of the Shrovetide Committee, the Players Committee, they can adapt the game to adapt to the 21st century, 22nd century. I don't know. I just want, as you say, want to see my children's children play Shrovetide in the streets. So,
thanks, Sam.
Lovely. Thank you to me. Lovely to meet you. Thank you.
I'm here with Uppard Ben Woodruff, a player for Shrovetide and world champion toe wrestler. Hello, Ben. Are you okay?
Yeah, mate. I'm all right. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad, thank you. Can I ask you a few questions about being a player in Shrovetide?
Sure. Yeah.
So, I was just wondering, when you're in the hug, does it sort of hurt?
It depends really, because I've been playing. I wouldn't say as hard as many other people, obviously, but I've had a good lean on the hug a few times, and been in the middle. Funny enough, when you're in the middle, it doesn't hurt as much as when you're on the outskirts. That's more of the sort of pain area, if you will. But it's more about pressure. So when you're in that pressurised situation, or you're being squashed up against a brick wall, or against a fence, or going through barbed wire, that's the most challenging aspect of it.
Have you ever goaled a ball?
No, never had that honour. But I'm happy that I've seen over the years some of my close mates like Jimmy Carter, Martin Taylor, etc., Rich Smith goal their balls, and that gives me as much pleasure as me goaling a ball potentially, which will obviously never happened, but I've resigned to that.
Do you still play Shrovetide now?
I try my best to. I've been marred with a few injuries. I badly broke my ankle back in 2020, so that really put a stop to me playing when I was trying my best, if you know what I mean. I never say I was the best player in the world or hardest player in the world, but that put a bit of a stop to it. And ever since then, I've never really been able to get into that sort of fitness level as well as a massive thing. I mean, all these lads are bloody fit. They're running from October onwards and, doing whatever. And as you can see, I'm not blessed with the running capability.
If you had the opportunity to say that you're playing all day and then you were sort of near the goal, if you had the opportunity to go on, would you take it?
If it means it's an upward win, yeah, 100%.
Of course, for you, if it's an upward win.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the thing is, at the end of the day, I don't think, honestly, anybody would ever say that they wouldn't. If they were on their own at that goal, it's going to happen. There's nobody that would wait. I think they'd be forced themselves.
Has it ever been close to you goaling one?
Never. No. Unfortunately, it's one of them. There's a lot harder players than me, a lot better players. They are, top banana level, and I'm the peel on the floor.
Would you ever turn a ball up if you got asked?
100%, yeah, 100%. I think it's not the greatest honour of Shrovetide, I don't think. It's one of the greatest honours. I think goaling a ball slightly peaks that. But obviously, you take that opportunity, I think anybody would do, especially a true Ashburnian. They understand the privilege and the honour of having that bestowed upon
them. Have you ever had any major injuries when playing?
Yeah, I've had a few broken ribs. I mean, that's not major. A lot of players in the past and present get that quite often, and I had a few nasty cuts and stuff like that. But yeah, it's part of the game, and I think you find with a lot of folk who do get injured, if you can carry on, you will, because adrenaline keeps you pumping, and that sort of will and might, and that teamwork aspect just gets you through that threshold.
Do you remember when your first Shrovetide that you went to was?
Yeah, so the earliest memory I've got of seeing a goal ball was when Algie Fern goaled us in 1999, and in Lindsay Porter's book you can see a little Ben right by the goal side with my godmother Jane Calladine, and I'm there poking my head around the corner watching him go on there. That's my earliest goaling memory. I would say that the earliest memory I've got is probably when John Tomlinson goaled us in '95. I seem to remember it vividly. It's a lot of aspects of it, but I don't really remember the full game. But yeah, I'd say that's probably my earliest memory is probably John Tomo, when Geordie just missed the time at 10 o'clock.
Have you ever do you know anyone from the committee well?
I know of them from sort of rugby days and stuff like that. Obviously, I know the likes of John and Dave Calladine, etc. Obviously, I know Nigel. Who doesn't know Nigel? So I know of him. I wouldn't say I know him very, very well. But passing by the street and say hello, how are you doing? You know what I mean?
Do you have any really good memories of Shrovetide?
Yeah, so I think it was 2012 when, sorry, no, it wasn't 2012, he'll shoot me, 2013, when my best mate Jimmy goaled his ball. Yeah, he's a downard, but that, for me, it's not the be-all and end-all. It is in them 2 days, obviously, you've got your rivalry, which is so important, and it's important for the maintenance of the game. But to see your best mate goal a ball is, like I say, it's an unbelievable feeling for me to see him walking back, and I waited for him, walked in with him, and I think that's part of Shrovetide. You leave it at that door when it's done, and I know it happens with families. There's families who've goaled different sides. Some are up and some are downers, and they've goaled balls. I think everybody's proud of one another because they know it's such an achievement and such a fantastic honour.
Do you think it'd be the same sort of feeling if you? Yeah, because I know if you throw a ball, I know that you get to sort of keep it if it's not goal. So do you think it'd be the same feeling as goaling one as if you threw it and got to keep it?
I don't know. Personally, I think that it's a ball should be goaled. That's just my opinion. You know, I think it's important that we see these balls gold, whether it be up or down. You've got lads who have played beyond belief all their life, put their bodies on the line and never had the opportunity to goal the ball. And that's on both sides of the coin. So I really do think that the ball should be gold and they should go to a goal scorer. That's not to say, obviously, you know, a turn-up doesn't deserve to have it back, but I just feel that it should be that element of it being gold, definitely.
And to finish off, what do you think the future of Shrovetide is going to be?
Look, it's a weird world that we're living in at the minute. Who knows? I hope that we manage to maintain and we manage to keep pushing and going forward and getting to that position where it is kept a traditional thing. You know, I believe in traditional values and historical sort of elements, and that's what this town's built upon, is that sort of factor. Unfortunately, we're in a world where that doesn't allow them sort of things to happen. But and also it's the people. There's too many people. Way too many people. And I know a lot of folk will say it's one of them now that the game has changed the dynamic in the past sort of like 5 or 6 years, really, where it's gone from being a nice open game, and you could have them old-fashioned games where there were a few fisticuffs, this, that and the other, to where it's that tight and there's that many people, you just got to move. And that's the hard bit.
Yeah. Thank you, Ben.
That's all right, mate. Oh, we'll do that one. All right, mate.
I'm here having a chat with Charlie Mansfield, who is a downward. So, how was your Shrovetide game this year?
Really enjoyed it. Great experience, really good result. Thought in spells we dominated, but I think also, you know, they come on top in certain areas as well. You know, it was a great feeling when, you know, we pushed them, 2 fields away from Sturson back towards the pavilion. I don't think really in my lifetime that's ever been done before, and that was such a good feeling in terms of, you know, we feel that there's a massive togetherness with the Downers at the minute, which is clearly showed in the Shrovetide that we've just gone through.
Were you involved in any key breaks this year?
I wouldn't say necessarily breaks, because that's more for the runners, you know, that train all year round to obviously play. And they play their part massively, in which obviously Martin did himself and the lads that got the ball away. I was more so in the hug, you know, so trying to get the ball out, trying to create certain situations, you know, work with other hug players to create these breaks potentially, in which we did. And, you know, we come out successful, which was really, really good to see.
What do you think the Downers did differently this year to, you know, win the actual game?
So I thought the togetherness, I think in terms of the chemistry, I think the young lads coming through, they played a massive part this year, and will continue to do so. And I think that's come from building relationships, having that chemistry in there, having that trust between each other as well. So, you know, when you're on the ball in there, you know, being willing to give it a youngster and work together, and the fact that you know them, you know, makes a massive difference.
Do you think they should do the same next year as they did this year?
I think so. I think, you know, obviously all these young lads coming through, very, very talented sportsmen, you know, really successful. I think obviously we've got to continue to work together and bring that togetherness into the Downers, because, you know, at the end of the day, you know, if we carry on the way that we're carrying, we'll score more balls down at Clifton, but also, you know, the young ones coming through, the new generations, they'll all want to become Downers, and that's really, really important.
So do you come from a big family of Shrovetiders?
Yeah. So obviously, my brother plays, my dad played, my other generation play. You know, Tim, you know, who's a cousin. He, you know, obviously he's a massive representative in terms of Shrovetide. Obviously paints all the balls and does a brilliant job with that sort of stuff. So yeah, certainly runs in the family.
Have you got any family members that have gold or Shrovetide ball?
Yes, I have actually. So John Mansfield, he scored 3. George Mansfield scored 1. Joe Burton scored 7, and Redvers Wibberley scored 3. So
7 balls by someone to goal.
I know. We're talking way back, but yeah, it's unbelievable, really.
Do you think that people today could goal more than one?
The same individual, I think it'd be very difficult. I think with the amount of people that are about in Ashbourne, you know, obviously, you know, it's kind of nice to have tourists coming over to watch the game and support the game, but it can get overloaded at times. And due to that, it'd be very difficult to kind of get away twice as a certain individual to score more than one ball.
Finally, the future of Shrovetide. What do you think the future is going to be?
I think I think everyone loves the game. Everyone that's from around here. It's probably the bar, family, events and Christmas events and all that sort of stuff, and having kids and stuff, that Shrovetide is the pinnacle of the year that, all the players and even people that aren't playing as well really, really look forward to. I certainly do anyway. It's a 2 days really that I can't wait for every single year, that I'm so excited for. And I just hope that the future is bright for Shrovetide, and it carries on for many, many more hundreds of years, really. To hopefully one day, potentially, I have kids, my kids play it, and their kids play it, and their kids play it. So, especially considering that we've touched on that it runs in the family, so I think that'd be really, really important. Yeah.
Thank you, Charlie.
Thank you. Top man.
I'm having a chat with Downard Brendan Harwood. He goaled the ball at Clifton in 2006. Hello, Brendan. Are you okay today?
Fine, thank you very much.
Good. So I've got a question. I've got a few questions for you, if that's all right.
Yep, shoot.
So, how long have you been playing Shrovetide?
Well, obviously I started playing at school, messing around on the playground, and then we played a bit until I went in my teens, until I joined the army. Then I was gone in the army, and then come back in '99, and then played a bit when I come back, but not really intense until one of my friends, Nick Lehman, and that we got into. He put his arm around me. Come on, Brendan, you could be good at this. Stick at it. And I got to the stage where I was playing all the time solidly. So for about '99 onwards, hit and miss, and then a couple of years after that, solidly, really. Yeah, so it's always been in my life. Like, it's always been in the family. My granddad scored in 1939. All my uncles have played. We've all played. It's just what's in you, isn't it?
Did you ever think you'd actually goal a ball?
No, I didn't. It was all about being part of the Downers for me. With being away in the army, I was away for a long time, and when I started playing Shrovetide, I was playing with a lot of the legends. They're not there now. It's playing like Harry, Darren, Neighbour, Tomo. I could be coming to the game as a transition was going on, so it was very frowned upon to have a lot of time with Shrovetide at the time. And then come back in, but it's changed a bit now. But I never thought I'd ever scored a Shrovetide ball. I just like going back after playing hard and having Harry or Darren or someone say, "Well done today, Brendan. Well done. You played really well." So I just kept going, kept my head down. I've always been fit. I've always been strong. So I just got stuck into it, and I just enjoyed the camaraderie of it and playing with the lads, having a laugh, and feeling being part of the Downers. It was all about me. I never ever thought I'd ever score one. No. Well, the dream is to score a Shrovetide ball, but the rule of thumb when I started playing Shrovetide is you kept your head down, you played hard, and you waited and waited and waited and waited. And if you were lucky enough and you were in the right place at the right time, with enough luck and enough of your mates around you, you probably would score one. So, yeah.
How did you feel actually after goaling the ball?
I'm very emotional. I'm very emotional because I felt very overwhelmed, very honoured. I had lots of flashbacks of my dad. I lost my dad when I was younger. He come to my mind. Yeah, it was overwhelming, really. Massively overwhelming. It's a moment in time. It's an undescribable feeling. I don't think the honour, just the honour of it, and knowing that you've been there playing Shrovetide all day with all these lads, and everyone has been going through hedges, rivers, getting ripped to pieces, getting crushed, getting tripped up, knocked over, punched, everything, and then you're the lucky guy at the end of the day who scores a Shrovetide ball. So it's overwhelming. The sense of the achievements and everything didn't really sink in with me on the night time. All I was like, I felt like I owed everybody straight away. That was my first instinct.
Did you celebrate after goaling the ball?
Well, I went back to the Green Man. We had a few beers. Didn't go crazy because we had to play again the next day. So it was like I went home, like had a few more beers at home, and then I went to bed. And then I got up the next day and we did it all again. Eat and repeat, as they say.
How many weeks did it take to sort of sink in that you gold ball?
Took me years. Took me years. I thought that I owed everyone. I didn't. I knew I was a ball scorer, but I still felt like I needed to earn people's respect because I was a very, very, I'd say, an apprentice ball scorer, if you want to put any words to it. I'd been playing hard for 4 years and I scored a Shrovetide ball, which is very unheard of. But over the years, I've ran balls in, I've snuck balls off, I've paid my dues, I've ran balls in with lads, I've made sure balls have got there on runs, I've done everything. So I like to think I do appreciate my ball. No, I've earned my ball now, but at the time when I scored my ball, I'll be very honest with you, I was like, wow, do I really deserve this? You know what I mean? But very strange for me. A bit different to me to other people who've been playing 15, 20 years and scored a Shrovetide ball.
See, your ball is painted and that. So just wondering, who actually painted your ball?
Tim Baker painted my ball. Grew up with Tim. We grew up down Tin Town together. I've known him for years. It's the way known Tim for a long time. Great bloke.
Would you ever like to turn up the ball one day?
I think the greatest honour is scoring a Shrovetide ball. Turning up a ball is a great honour as well. I think there's a lot of people out there who deserve to turn up a ball who never than me turning up a ball. I'd never say no, but it's not the be all and end all for me.
So when you was in the wild in the street film, like how was that? How was that feeling to you?
Surreal, isn't it? There was no. I suppose now for people of your generation, it's different because it's all YouTube and all that, but they weren't really that much about. So to be followed around by a film crew and filmed, and on that year actually scoring the ball is surreal. You know what I mean? And there'd been an American TV crew as well. It was, just very unusual, as I would say.
Sort of on that sort of film sort of subject, how did it feel that you actually goaled your ball in the film?
How did it feel?
Yeah,
watching the film after.
It's like knowing that you goaling it was actually in the film. Like, what was that sort of feeling like?
To be perfectly honest, when I watched it, it's a bit, and sitting and watching loads of people, gives you a bit of a cringe moment, if you know what I mean. I'm not, to me, nice to watch, but also a bit cringy.
Can you remember when your first Shrovetide was?
I can remember the first time my mum would never let me go. She never let me go, and then I snuck out, and I was in the river down in the culvert, and I had wellies on, and my wellies filled up with water, and my feet went freezing, and I scampered home. So I'd be about 10, 11 then. And then after that, we used to scope and all hang off the plinth because it used to be scaffold tubes, and used to be as a kid, you try and get on there and hang off the plinth and watch you throw the ball up. So yeah.
Have you been close to goaling a ball before 2006?
No, Plonk's ball, Peter Millwood's ball. I was on that for a long time. I took it all the way down the river, and then I passed it out to the runners, and they ran off with it, and obviously. Peter had the honour of scoring the ball. But I wouldn't say I was close to scoring it, but you get that tingling feeling that I've been on this ball a long time now. They must be, you know what I mean. But then after it just passes. You get that thought, and then all your idea is all I really ever wanted to do was just get on the ball and stop on the ball, and that was it really.
Would you like to score another ball as like other players have scored more than one?
Definitely not. No, I don't. I think it's greedy. I think the honour of scoring a Shrovetide ball is should be shared between everybody. There's not enough Shrovetide balls to go around good players, and I don't agree with. Back in the 60s, 50s, and 40s, they want different. it was different. But now, there's so many good players now, so many good lads who deserve Shrovetide balls that will never get one. The true old fact is there's not enough balls to go around. And I'm afraid that's just the way it is. So I think if you think you need another Shrovetide ball, I've never felt that need. I'm different to other people. I think one's enough for anyone.
How does it feel when you do the team talks for the Downards?
It's the worst part of Shrovetide for me. It's the well, we've stopped doing them now, but when we used to do them, the anticipation it's an honour. But it's trying to get the lads just G'd up, really. Basically, the lads all know what they're doing. It's just more of a bonding thing before we go over on the car park and everything. It's an honour. Like, not just me who do it. Simon Betteridge did it with me as well. So yeah, but like I suppose I started it, but I've never been a big talker. I think that's a question you want for Dobbin. He's the man for team talks. I think I would just try to rally the lads up and get them going and try and get a bit more unity before we go across. You know what I mean? So an honour, and very, very honoured for people to come over and listen to me. To be honest, yeah.
The talks ever sort of work?
I'd like to say yes, and I can also say no. So I don't know. Maybe when we scored a ball, yeah, they worked. When we didn't score a ball, no, they didn't work. So I can't really say any more than that. Really, I was more trying to break the tension and get a bit of a laugh and get the lads. If you're laughing about things, the adrenaline doesn't build up as much in you and the anticipation.
What is the best game you've actually ever played in?
Wow. Obviously, my own game was, I'd say, people might query this or not, but my ball was a transition period in my ideas of Shrovetide, of last of the old generation transition to the new generation, as the game has got a little bit more liberal than it used to be. I had the honour of playing Shrovetide with really tough men and legends like Harry and Darren and Neighbour and such like that. I'd say my goal was the last one to be scored in a Wild West fashion. It was there was a few fists thrown, quite a few fists thrown, and I walked down the field, the ball up my top. I think there was even a couple of complaints, letters into Ashbourne Telegraph about how violent it was. I don't condemn that at all, but in the heat of the moment, the adrenaline's pumping. Sometimes fists get thrown, and sometimes people know not to cross a certain line with certain people. So I would say mine was the last of the old-fashioned Shrovetide balls to be scored. Now it's more, I wouldn't say liberal. I'd say a bit more liberal, more team towards like. There's too many people now for that to make any impact. Is the best way to say it. But plus we're playing with legends like Darren and Harry and all, and Neighbour and Tomo and Rue and all them. I'm very honoured to do that. But then you accelerate it forward again to 2011 when I was playing. I've been very lucky because I can always play in the hug and I could run. And in 2011, I had the pleasure of running a ball in with a very good mate of mine, Simon Betteridge, who I trained with all the time, and also running another ball, getting another ball down to Clifton with a very good friend called Adrian Webb, which was a very good year where we scored 4 Shrovetide balls that year. So I'd say I've had the honour of playing old school, which was a very big honour for me. For people like Darren and Harry and all them to think that I deserve a Shrovetide ball. And then I've transitioned across to playing with the newer generations, with all the younger lads and that lot, and having the honour of running balls down with them and sneaking off the balls and everything, really. So I wouldn't say I've got a certain Shrovetide as my favourite. I'd just say them two are iconic to me, really.
What do you think is the future of Shrovetide, do you reckon?
A long future, I hope. A safe future.
Yeah.
A traditional future. I'm a big traditionalist. I don't want the game to change too much. I don't want Shrovetide's Royal Shrovetide, and in my eyes, it's a game, but it's also a tradition, and we need to respect that. And you know what I mean? I don't want it to become too organised. in the game itself. It's not a team game. It is a team game, but it's not a team game. There's all the individuals. It's a very hard balance between it all. But I still like to see the bit of the old traditional individuality and also keep the tradition going. Where if you do something special or you do get a bit of luck or everything, it's not controlled too much. But going forward, I hope we play it for the next generations and generations. So my son, he's just turning 10 this time. I hope he plays. And I hope it goes and goes, and I hope that no one ever gets injured. I hope we all play safely, we all respect each other. And I hope it just keeps continuing for the sake of Ashbourne. And we are probably one of the last historical things going on in this country that needs protecting.
Thank you, Brandon.
No worries, you're all right, mate.
I'm now here with Richard Smith for his story of how he goaled the ball. Hello, Richard. Are you okay?
I'm very well. How are you, Archie?
I'm not too bad, thank you. Can we please know your story of how you goaled the ball?
Yeah, of course. I think people might have heard it, but no. So yeah, it was quite an active Shrovetide 2019. So Tuesday, the ball had been all over the place. Then on the Wednesday, we were near the leisure centre. The hug was moving towards Thurston, and I think it might be the uppers that actually put the ball on the floor because it was about 8:15. They needed something to happen, and the ball made its way behind these two lads' legs. So it was Sam Moore and Stephen. So the ball was behind their legs. Rob, my younger brother, had seen them. He knew the ball was there. He came and got me. Walked over to them. They knew I was a downward. They've opened their legs, picked the ball up, put up my jumper, tried to walk off. I got spotted, and then when I heard my name shouted because they'd seen me, I just sprinted, ran maybe 300 metres. My younger brother caught me up, gave him the ball. He took the ball a little bit further, over the roundabout near home base towards McMurtry, and then I took the ball back off him there and then ran it into the goal.
So can I ask you what's painted on your ball and who painted it?
Yeah, of course. So Tim Baker painted the ball. So yeah, I've got on this side. This was a picture of me on the Tuesday in Tomo's Field. My auntie took that photo. On the other side, that's me in the river just after I'd goaled the ball, and there's Rob, my younger brother, behind me. Again, he helped me quite a lot to score the ball. I've got my daughter's name. I've got my son's name. I've also got my wife's name on it. I've got and then just everything that really means a lot to me. Like I said, family names. I've got the Ashford Rugby Club, Emlyn. I've got Queen Elizabeth Grammar School. I've got the Union Jack, and then the University of Birmingham as well, and then obviously the Crown. So I absolutely love it. I'd always dreamt of scoring a Shrovetide ball, so I always knew what I was going to have painted on it. And Tim has done an absolute great job. I love it. There's nothing I would change.
And what do you think the future of Shrovetide is?
The future of Shrovetide, hopefully very bright, as long as we look after it. The main committee, the players committee do a wonderful job. The marshals are great, and the players are great as well. I know that it looks quite fierce, and there is a rivalry, a real rivalry, and we all want to win. However, there is a sporting element to it, and we all want the game to continue. So hopefully, if everyone follows the rules and we all work together, then it can continue. Absolutely.
Thank you, Richard.
No worries. Cheers, Archie.
I'm now with Martin Taylor. He goaled the most recent ball in 2025. Hello, Martin. How are you?
Hi, Archie. Yeah, good. Thank you.
Are you able to tell us the story of how you actually goaled your ball? Because I've heard it's quite good.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, we could be here for some time, so I don't know how long you've got, but I can definitely tell you the full story if you want me to. Yeah, so from the start, on Church Street, obviously it was sort of popping into the river and then popping out to the bus station side and then popping back into the river, coming out. So running back and forth. Obviously, Shrovetide with the amount of people there, you've got to be in the right place at the right time. So we're running back and forth. I run onto Church Street and it has popped out, and it sort of just hovered there a bit. So I was just up, sort of near the T-junction, maybe just a little bit down from that, and then it's gone up the alleyway, and I wasn't sure whether it had actually gone up the alleyway, because obviously you can never be 100% sure where the ball is in a hug when it's not in the air. But then a lot of people sort of was running towards me and running up. So then I went up the alleyway just up from Fiddler Taylor. Of course, there's people in front of me, so I couldn't run up those steps. I had to just go as fast as the person in front of me could go. I got onto Bellevue Road, turned right, and back towards the T-junction on Bellevue Road. And I have seen an upper player waving up towards North Avenue. Now, again, probably a bit of experience that's come in there because you can read a lot from body language. So the fact he was jumping around and was very excited, I thought there's a chance it's more than likely it has gone up there. So got to the end, went left up sort of Northcliffe, North Avenue, took a gamble, and as I've got round the corner onto North Avenue, I've passed one of our players, Will Farr. And he's blowing, and I've run past him. And as I've run past him, he said, "The guy in the blue top has got the ball." And as I've got round the bend at the top, I can see the guy in the blue top, and I knew it was Rob Armstrong because you know what people are wearing on the day. Again, you're just soaking up all this knowledge. So realised it was going to be a pretty hard run if I'm going to catch him because I know he's fast and he's got a lead on me. So just a case of pacing it really, not going hell for leather straight away, but just sort of ramping up the speed as I went. And as I got to the bowling green, he was on the other side of the crossroads on Wimwell Lane. So I was like, oh, I'm catching him. So that's good. So carry on going. So I carried on, and in my head, even at that time, my plan was to catch him before the jitty that goes on to Greenway. Because I thought, obviously, if it gets through that jitty, gravity's going to do its work down Greenway, and we're going to be at paper houses before we know it, which is bad news for us. But luckily enough, I caught him just at the old PNEU, and as I was running, I was on the road, and Zach Lomas and Uppert was on the pavement, so it's tough for him to get to me because there was a row of cars. So I was on the road overtaking him, and I could see Rob, and I'm within about 5-10 metres of him now. So Zach shouted to Rob to say, "Go Rob, Martin Taylor's behind you and he's coming." So he turned around and he seen me, and then he sort of faced me so that we're looking right at each other. And then he sidestepped me into the back entrance to Queggs Field, which was fine. I was happy that he went down there because we're sort of out of sight, we're not on a main road. And then there's like a silver metal gate, but there's a little gap just round it. Now in my head I thought I can rugby tackle him before that gate, but there's a possibility that he could wrap up the ball underneath the hedge or at the bottom of the gate, and I'm going to struggle to get it off him before other people arrive. So I just let him go round that silver gate, a bit more open, and then we were going down the back drive, and I thought, this is my time, we're open now, I've got to rugby tackle him from behind, but I've got to do it hard enough so that the ball pops out. So I sprinted that last bit, took him to the ground, the ball spilled out, which was perfect, exactly what I wanted to happen. Got up quicker than him, bit of a tussle, got up, ran down the bank, gathered the ball up, ran down the other bank towards the sports hall at Queggs, and then I know that garden because I've worked in it before. So chucked the ball over the fence. I got over the fence, and then I was later told that sort of Rob was about to climb over that fence, but I think the likes of Rich Smith and Paddy and a few of our lads were there, so they grabbed him to pull him back down from the fence, and then ran through the garden and went to go onto Green Road. And as I was about to run down the drive onto Green Road, I could see loads of people running past on Green Road. So just instinct really, because I didn't want to run into the crowds because you just get wrapped up and a hug would form again. So I went across the front of the house and came back up the other side, almost double back to myself, climbed underneath a hedge into the next garden, jumped down a wall and the back of the house, and then I just saw a little gap in between a shed and the wall. So I just went round the back of there and just stayed quiet for about a couple of minutes, and then I thought it's probably not the best hiding place, this. So I've moved from the shed to go up to the garden. And again, it wasn't really, you can't really plan these things. You just got to be in the moment, take your opportunity. And I'm walking up the steps, and as I'm sort of walking up the steps, there's a plant pot there. So I just flipped the plant pot over and put the ball under, and ran to the top of the garden and hid under a bush. And then two young lads came up the garden, and sort of, get down, upwards or downwards, downwards. And it's like, yeah. So cool, right. So hide with me underneath this bush. I just didn't want anyone to see us in the garden. So next minute we were under this bush, just hiding, staying quiet. We were there at 5:30. I realised it was still daylight at this time, so I still feel like a sitting duck. I wanted it to be a bit darker, have the cover of darkness. I knew it was going to start getting dark about 10 past, 6:15. And people obviously tracing my routes from being in the next garden. So I can see people climbing over the fence I've climbed over to get into the next door's garden. So I can't really speak because they'll hear me. So I'm trying to whisper down the phone to my mates to come and back me up. But a lot of them can't hear me because I'm whispering. So they're like, "Can't hear you, mate. You're gonna have to speak up." And I'm trying to whisper, and I can't hear them. But luckily, there was two people who I was on the phone to who could hear me, Dom Harrison and Paul Spencer. So I was relaying the messages back to them to say that, look, I've got the ball. I'm okay for the minute, but get everybody away from Green Road. So that's when I know that they're going to do dummy runs and throw a few different things out there. So anyway, instinct is to just get out from under the bush and just run. But I knew I'm going to get caught, so I just had to lay low and I just had to sit there. So it was almost running flat out to going straight into stealth mode. So, I'm hearing people looking for me all over the place. And then, unfortunately, I heard someone climb over the fence at the back where I was in the garden, and no one had done that yet. People were on the other side of the fence, or we were on next door's garden. So I was like, probably luck's going to run out here, and sure enough, it did, just for that moment. So I got found, Algie, Jonesy, a few others of their lads. So then it was kind of got to go into a bit of acting here, because I've been found, but they don't know where the ball is, and I do know where the ball is. I've still got one up on them, and just to add that the two lads that were with me at that time saw me move from the back of the shed to run up to the garden, but they didn't see where I put the ball, and I didn't tell them where I put the ball. Didn't want anyone to know. So I still had that advantage that I knew I was the only person who knew where the ball is. So anyway, back and forth, short conversation, heated discussion, shall we say, with the uppers. And in the end, I sort of had to just play my acting skills and say, do you know what, lads, you can have the ball. If you're not going to let me have it, you can have it. So I started walking down the garden. I looked over my shoulder and I could see them looking in the bush where I've been hiding. I thought, right, I've got 5 meters on them here. Here's my time. So I flipped the plant pot over, grabbed the ball. They've seen me grab the ball, and then I've just ran onto Green Road. And again, didn't know where I was running or what I was doing. It was just go as fast as you can, and again, just try and get away from the people. So yeah, just ran onto Green Road, and then sort of onto Cockayne Avenue. Ran down the drive to the pavilion, and then did a sharp left onto the bowling green there, and then did another left. So again, double back to myself, found a conifer tree, shoved the ball in that, carried on jumping on over a few fences, and then hid myself in sixth form centre and got on the phone again. This time I could speak because no one was near me. So phoned up my friend Paul Spencer and said, look, I've been found. I've managed to run off again. I've managed to hide the ball again, but they know where I am with the ball, so they know it's here. So we need to get a move on. So come and meet me at my parents-in-law who live on Cockayne Avenue, and we can go and get the ball. We need to start moving. So I ran to my mother-in-law's and father-in-law's who live on Cockayne Avenue. And then Spenny arrived, which was good to see. And then Nick Lehman arrived, which was good to see. And then I said to them, you need to check that no uppers are on Cockayne Avenue, because the ball's just the other side of Cockayne Avenue in this conifer tree. So anyway, I was hiding behind the house. They went onto the road. And I felt I was waiting there for ages, because I was like, I know where they are. We need to get moving. So I just walked down the drive then. Probably shouldn't, but got a bit impatient. Saw a couple of uppers. I think they knew I'd ran off of it. So again, I was like, I had to bluff them a bit. So I just said, you never guess what's happened. Typical Downers, I think we've lost the ball again. So this is to Grey Brown and Dan, the uppers. So they started sort of laughing with me, chuckling. So I just said, come on, let's have a run down the park. So started running with them, waited for them to run off, and then double back, came back, double back to myself, got the ball from the tree, put it on my top, walked out onto Cockayne Avenue where I saw Spenny. Spenny looked at me and was like, no, Martin, what are you doing? There's loads of uppers on the other side of the road. There's about 10 of them. So they were over my left shoulder. So I had to position the ball sort of there rather than on my front, sort of there. And because I knew they were walking, so Spenny was facing me, and I had to just, again, do a bit of acting skills. And I was like, I don't know where the ball is. I think was it over there? It could have been over there. But I was trying to show my hands to say, like, I haven't got it, but it was literally here. So then I said, right, let's just walk down to Parkside, but try and walk as slow as we can. Because even if we walk fast, they're going to suspect something. So me, Nick and Spenny just walked down towards Parkside Sixth Form Centre. And I just said, don't look back. Just walk slow as you can and don't look back. And sure enough, we did that. We got to the Sixth Form Centre and we looked back, looked over our shoulders, and we were like, they've not followed us. Brilliant. So then we started running. We went round the back of the hockey pitch, over the wreck. Came out on what was Beresford Avenue. But the garden that we were going to run through, it was Monty's mum. We could see her in the kitchen, so we were like, right, we won't do this one because we'll do another garden. So we ran through, got onto Park Avenue. So there's just 3 of us still at this point. So we're running down Park Avenue, and I'm still thinking, you know, we're really vulnerable here. There's only 3 of us. It could be 10 uppers that we walk into, and you know, likelihood are going to turn us over. So any car that was coming up Park Avenue was hiding behind cars, was hiding behind hedges and stuff. Hence why I got caught on all these cameras, ring doorbells, and everything. And then we took a left, Dovedale Avenue. And then when we got to near enough the end of Park Avenue, we saw, about 15 lads, but we couldn't quite, because it was dark, we couldn't see if they were uppers or downers. Anyway, I said to Ben, you go, I'll hide here, you go and have a look. Anyway, he got about 10 metres down the road, he went, lads, here. So I was like, right, it's all that, it's brilliant. So then we ran, then there was about 15 of us, so I felt a lot more comfortable then. Then we ran back as Code Red, straight over New Derby Hill, straight up the fields, full of brambles. I must have fell over about 20 times. And I was only walking, I wasn't running at this point, because I couldn't see anything. And then we popped out, at the top of the Old Derby Hill. And then, ran to the new roundabout, and then we were going to go under the bypass over the golf course, but I didn't want to do that, just a bit obvious golf courses. So it was either go wider than that or come in a bit short. So we came in a bit short and went right down, I think it's Acorn Drive, the new housing estate. And then there was actually a couple of trucks that turned up with uppers. So I then sprinted and just got round the corner of the nearest house I could see, just to get round the corner, so I was out of sight. And again, I was told later that because they didn't see you, or they didn't see the ball, they still weren't sure where it was. We told them after, you were about 20 yards from it. So ran down, went over the bypass, but again, because we had to sacrifice some of our lads to stop the uppers, it was then back down to 4 of us. So ran over the bypass, ran up to the top of one field, but didn't come as high as a golf course. And then kept running towards the top of the roundabout. We came out at the vets there at the home base roundabout, and that's when we were able to just get more backup. So again, it was a case of phoning our lads, and again they came, and it was back to 20, 25 of us. So again, felt much more comfortable. But it was still not job done. We're still quite a way here. So let's not start handshaking just yet. We're not there. Still got to get it in and get it scored. So we managed to again make some phone calls to make sure that no one was hanging around the back of Aldi, and we got the phone call to say it's all clear. So popped out through a gap in the hedge, crossed over, went to the vet, got onto the old railway line. And then by that point, we saw another group run towards us from the back of Aldi, and it was probably a similar sized group towards us. We didn't, again, know whether it was upwards or downwards. Thankfully, it was downwards. So by this point, by the time we got on the old railway line, it was probably about 40, 50 of us. And at that point, it was just no point walking it in, no point running it. It's a case of walking it in. Obviously, if I run it in, I'm going to get isolated again. So I was in the middle. It's pretty good feeling that was, knowing that I've pretty much got 50 bodyguards around me. And we were met by a bit of pressure on Dolls Lane, but it was quickly sorted. And then it was straightforward from there. And then it was kind of like, right, we are going to score it. And then my brain sort of switched to, am I going to score it? We're here now. We're at the goal. I can hear the cheers. I can see all the lights through the trees. And I was told, 100% it's yours. So, and I think that was told at the goal. So obviously everyone watching their response. Also, it wasn't a draw. So it wasn't like, oh, who's going to get this? It was like it's Martin's. Martin's getting this. So everyone could almost feel elated before I'd even scored, which was nice. So great feeling that I was backed by everyone. And then dropped in, and it was like all our lads were at the goal. It's just like the sea parted for me. They all just opened up, dropped in the river, straight under the goal, and tapped it 3 times, and history's been made. So sorry, long-winded, but that was the full story.
Thank you. So what do you think the future of Shrovetide is going to be?
I like to think it's in a good place now. The future of it, I think one of the best things that's said is that it's a local game for local people. I think we have to look after the game, and I think that's the only way we're going to keep it the way we want it. We can't do anything about social media and the way that goes, because it can just get out of control. But it is our game. We are going to look after it. So I'd like to think that Shrovetide it's inevitably going to change, but I don't think it's going to change too much, just because you've still got the core people of Ashbourne who are true Shrovetiders, and you'll never ever lose that in this town. You'll always have that. So I'd like to think that Shrovetide is not going to change much in time. I think it's still going to be what it is today in 50 years.
Thank you for your phenomenal story on that.
Thank you very much.
I'm now here with Stephen Butt, who goaled the ball at Surston in 1984. What does Shrovetide mean to you, Steve?
It's an Ashburn tradition, played by family, friends. It's just something that I've really enjoyed ever since I was young.
What's your very first memory of Shrovetide?
Very first memory was being in Compton when I was about 6 or 7 years old, watching the ball being kicked up and down Compton.
How old was you when you started playing the game?
I was 12, 13.
You spent a lot of time in the river. Do your legs go quite numb after a while?
Yes, they do, but just have to put up with that.
Did you ever think that you would goal a Shrovetide ball?
No, it was getting a long time. I've been very close a couple of times, but I'd just keep playing in the hope that one day it is your day.
Can you tell us about the decoration on your ball?
I've got Ashbourne Rugby Club crest on one side because I played rugby for Ash for many years. On the other side is the Czechoslovakian Air Force crest that Koril Zuar, the man who turned the ball up, was a pilot in the Second World War. I have the Blue Peter badge on because they were filming it when I scored, and I have a painting that was taken off a photograph by Laurie Avery called Possession that won a prize. I'm not quite sure what the prize was, but it won a prize in a photographic competition.
So you've also turned the ball up, which is a greater honour, goaling it or turning it up?
I always thought that goaling would be, but I was talking to an old friend of mine who's done the same, Frank Lomas, and he said that turning the ball up was a greater honour. I didn't really agree with him until I got asked, and then I found probably it is a great honour because you've got to have luck, you've got to have friends to score a Shrovetide ball, but anybody can do it. But there's only 2 or 3 people a year who turn a Shrovetide ball.
Can you name some great people you've played with and played against?
Great people when I was young: Frank Lomas, John Mansfield. Playing for the Downards, the Grant family, Ernie, John Senior. People that Andrew Lehman, my age, Paul Armstrong, I think was the best Shrovetide runner ever. Michael Wright, Tim Fern for the Downards, Mark Harrison, great player, and his brother Paul, and many more. Too many to name, I think, really.
This film that we're doing is dedicated to Don Lowndes. Do you have any memories of him?
I certainly do. Many memories. I remember when I was about 15 or 16, coming down to play Shrovetide, walking down when I lived in the village of Knifeton, and Don picking me up in his gold XJ, whatever it was, Jaguar, full of people coming down to play the game. Spare ticket for the lunch at the Green Man. Went down, sat down and had the lunch before the game, the first one I ever went to.
What do you think the future of Shrovetide is going to be?
I think it's getting harder to play the game. The teams are getting bigger, the pitch is getting smaller with all the houses that are built around the town. We have support, especially from the town council, Derbyshire Dales Council. I'm not quite so sure that we have a great support from the police. And I think it's slightly in jeopardy, but I just hope that it carries on.
Steve. I'm now here with Mark Hallam. He's the guy that goaled the ball in 2003, and it was the one that the Prince of Wales turned up. Hi Mark, how many years have you been playing Shrovetide?
Ever since sort of last few years at school up till now. A few years, a bit less because I've had health issues, but other than that, just kept going best I can.
The Upwards have had a big success over the past 30 years. How do you think that's come about?
Just camaraderie, really, just good team play and trusting one another. Not afraid to pass the ball to one another and trust that it's going in the right direction.
Did you ever think you would goal a Shrovetide ball?
You always hope you will and keep thinking you might, but until you do, you never know.
So you're obviously proud to have goaled the ball. Well, how does it feel that you've goaled this one?
Obviously, I'm very, very, very proud. It's sort of a long time coming to get a ball, and it just very, very lucky to actually get this one.
Has any other members of your family goaled a Shrovetide ball?
Yeah, my granddad scored at Sturston in 1936. The year the Uppers won 4-0.
So what do you think the future of Shrovetide is?
It's hard to say really, and the town's getting built up, and the playing area's getting smaller. Just hope it keeps going for the sake of the young ones, but anything could happen nowadays, anything.
I'm now here with Ian Bates, who goaled a ball in 1974. Hi Ian, are you
Hi.
okay?
Yes, thank you. Very well at the moment.
How did it feel that it was Don Lowndes' ball that you goaled?
Well, I was thrilled to goal a Shrovetide ball, even more thrilled because it was Don Lowndes and it was an idol of mine playing Shrovetide.
Do you have any nice memories of Don?
I do have a lot of nice memories of Don. We played in the river for a long time together, and he was a gentle giant, and we got on and we went for a drink together several times.
How long did you play Shrovetide for?
I played Shrovetide for nearly 40 years.
Did you ever plan to goal a Shrovetide ball?
I always wanted to goal a Shrovetide ball, but some are lucky, some aren't, and I was very lucky to get this one, a special one.
What do you think the future of Shrovetide is?
I'm very dubious about the future because with all the restrictions being in health and safety, it's going to be a struggle to keep it going.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm now here with Terry Lowndes, the oldest son of Don Lowndes, who this film is dedicated to. So Terry, your dad was a absolute Shrovetide legend. So could you tell us a story that was about him?
Well, the thing is, there were no wetsuits in those days. They're just a pair of overalls on a pair of boots, and that were about your lot. So, you know, it was a different ball game totally. You know, they got to be tough guys, especially to tattle the river in those days. They wouldn't go in, half of them these days, if they hadn't got the wetsuits on board.
So could you tell us about when your dad goaled the ball and dropped it on your granddad's bed?
Yes, I believe it was the first ball that he ever goaled. His father was ill in bed with pneumonia. They lived at Parwich at the time, and he was so pleased. He came back, he ran straight upstairs and threw the ball onto the bed. He says, "Will that do you, Dad?" And his father was very, very pleased. He says, "Well done, lad."
So do you ever remember your dad
Only
goaling?
vaguely one, really, because as I say, I wasn't very old at the time, but I can just vaguely remember him goaling one ball, and I was quite proud of him at the time, obviously.
Do you remember how he walked in after goaling it?
Well, it looked as if he'd had a rough time somewhere, you know, because he used to have long black hair and it all hung down over his face, and his overalls were torn, and you know, it looked as if he'd gone through the mill, really.
So how did you and the family feel when Don got asked to turn up the ball?
My grandfather, that's my dad's dad, and my grandmother, they were very proud, and they came down to the occasion of the Green Man, and they was as pleased as punch and very proud of him, you know, to get that honour at the time.
Yeah. Can you tell us a bit about the poem that your dad wrote for Shrovetide?
Well, I can tell you one thing. He spent many hours trying to put it together. He'd sit there all quiet. He didn't like to be disturbed, and he'd make notes and this, that and the other, but it took him quite a long, long time.
So what do you think that Don's legacy for Shrovetide is?
Well, he loved Shrovetide and he wished it to continue. And that's why he said, "Don't decry our ancient game and never show defeat. Let's see our children's children play Shrovetide in the street."
Do you have any funny stories of Don and Shrovetide?
Well, one story I can say is, after goaling a ball at Sturson, he was on his way back with various people. I think some of the names were Souters at the time. And on the way back, there was this guy holding his knee. This was about midnight or just after. And I think his name was Souters, says, "What's up with you?" This guy was called Moon, I believe. He says, "I've had my kneecap kicked off." And the shouter turned round and said to him, "Hey lad, it's no good playing Shrovetide if you can't stand a bit of a knock like that."
So what do you think the future of Shrovetide is, and what do you think Don would have thought the future of Shrovetide would have been?
Well, I did mention it about, if anything seriously happened, it could be stopped. But I think there's certain people thought it could never be stopped, but my dad always said it could be if something seriously happened, somebody being damaged or killed or whatever, injured badly. He says it could stop in this day and age way things are today. And that was his thoughts about it.
So what do you and your family think about Don being an absolute legend in Shrovetide?
Well, we're very proud of him, really, for what he achieved. And he gave Shrovetide the name it's got today.
Thank you, Tony.
And thank you, young man.
So we've asked a lot of people what they think the future of Shrovetide is going to be. Well, what do you think the future of Shrovetide is? You know what I think it is? I think the future of Shrovetide is Shrovetide!
The town still plays this glorious game, though 'tis but a little sport. And year by year the contest goes from a field that is called your club. Where friend meets friend in friendly strife, the leather for to gain. And they play the game right man for life. In snow, sunshine or rain, it's a good old game. Behind camp that drives the flock of an Englishman. It's a good old game. Behind it will come that drives the flock of an Englishman.
That's how it goes.